Hello, it's 3 o'clock on Thursday. Welcome to my Facebook Live for this week. Today I have decided that I'm going to share with you a very simple stamping card, but in the process explain some basic techniques of stamping, okay? This last 2 weeks I've been teaching classes at the Sunshine Coast Libraries with brand new stampers and card makers. It has been the best series of classes. It's just been wonderful. The attendees have been fantastic, and this is the card that I used to demonstrate just basic stamping techniques. So I have my card. Oh, actually, what I'm using, I'll just explain first. I didn't do this in the classes, but I'm using the Christmas Classics stamp set. So this stamp set's only available until the end of this month, and it is part of the Joy of Christmas suite right here, and it also has coordinating dies, but I'm not using that today. I'm just using this. As you can see, I've had a fantastic time playing with this stamp set. It's just so easy to use and very festive, and looks great in most colors. All right, I've got my cardstock here ready to go. So my basic card is just a standard card size. So that's 21, scored at 10.5 by 14.5. So that's my basic card size. Okay, I've got 3 pieces to stamp, and I've got 3 pieces of black to just make the stamp, the card stand out a little bit more. I could just do white on white, but the black makes it really stand out. Okay, so let's launch into basic stamping. All right, on our stamps, I'm using photopolymer stamps here today. On our stamps, if you look closely, there's a raised surface. You can see through our stamps, which is really fantastic. So when I'm stamping, this is the block, and I can see through it, and I can see exactly where my image is. Now, if you have a look this way, can you see the little raised surface? That is where you want your ink to be. Nowhere else, not on the block, not everywhere. You only want it on that actual raised bit, because that gives you your image. So to avoid getting a blended image or a, what's the word? An image that's not crisp and clear, I do need some scrap paper underneath me. Here we go, I'll just grab this piece of scrap paper here. To avoid having blurred images or anything like that, there are some things to do that work really well. So our ink is really juicy and really wet and juicy. So if you push really hard into your ink pad, what you'll end up with is ink here, but also ink everywhere else, and there's a greater chance of having a mess. So the way to get just the right amount of ink is just to pat it. Pat very gently. I'm barely giving any pressure at all to that ink pad, because I don't want to squish my whole stamp into the ink pad. So as you can see there, the ink is just on the raised surface of the image. Okay, so pat. And then when you stamp, then you can add pressure. You can push down, push in the middle, and then lift straight up. Okay, so pat on the ink pad, but when you stamp, straight down, straight up. Pat on the ink pad, straight down, straight up. Okay, so there's some stamping done for the inside of my card. Now I'll do some stamping for the front of my card. Pat, so not much pressure, and then straight down. Avoid rocking your stamp, because if you rock it to and fro, that's where you can end up with blurry images. So straight up, straight down, and give it a bit of pressure in the middle, you know. So if you're not sure how hard to stamp, just push in the middle and lift straight up. Okay, so that straight down, straight up will give you a much better design. All right, and now I'm going to, another really good stamping technique to get into the habit of doing always is to clean your stamp straight away. You just never know when you might want to pick it up and use a different color, and you don't want to have those dark colors already on it. While I've got my green ink out for my card here, I've blended some extra color where the leaves are, just to give it a bit more depth. So these blending brushes are a bit like a makeup brush. They're thousands and thousands of little bristles. So just rub that on my ink, and then I'm going to just softly, softly, softly. It's easy to add more, but it's really hard to take it off if you put too much ink on your project, okay? So you can always build up more color. And just putting ink just over where those leaves are, just to give them a bit more depth. Alrighty, so that's probably enough on the front. And then for my stamping for the inside, I'm going to go off the edge and come over. Off the edge and then come over where the leaves are. Just add a bit more depth of colour. There we go. Alright, that's all my green stamping done. Next I'm going to stamp with some real red to create the berries. So here's the berry stamp. Now this one is clean. You can have a look, total clean, but because I've been using it in red ink, it does stain the stamps a little bit. I can still see where they are, but red is like exactly the same as when you wash something red in the wash and it's not color fast. Red is the color that's going to do the thing. So pat, 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 stamp straight down, straight up, pat, 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 straight down. I love this stamp. Look, it doesn't really matter where you stamp it, it still looks absolutely spectacular. And I have had such a great time using it for so many projects. There we are. Welcome everyone who's come to watch me today. I'm very happy you're here. Okay, that's all of my berry stamping done. While I've got my red ink there, I'm going to stamp a greeting for inside my card. So the beauty of the photopolymer is I can see exactly where my greeting is there. Hey Lynette, thank you for joining me. So pat, 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 stamp straight down and straight up. Thank you for saying hello. It's nice to know who's here. So there's my greeting for the inside of my card. And then for the front of my card, I'm going to put on Christmas, Happy Christmas. So I'll stamp my Christmas. It's great that this stamp set has, you can choose how you want to layer your greetings. So because the words are separate, you can have Happy Christmas or Merry Christmas or Christmas wishes. There we go, Happy Christmas. Okay, that's all my stamping done. And I've been gentle with my ink pads, so I've preserved them. Right, so there's the stamping. Ready to put my card together now. All right, when I was doing my demonstrations at the library, I also talked about the difference between our seal and our glue and our dimensionals. Seal is my favorite because it's quick and easy and dry, it's not wet, and I don't get sticky fingers from it, but it's actually the hardest one to use. It runs like your whiteout runner, tape runner, which means that you can only use it as you drag it along and drag the glue along behind you. And if it's not working, pushing harder won't make it work any better because it has this tiny little wheel at the front that wheels the tape along. When you push harder, you stop the wheel from actually moving. So the way, if it's not working, is to make sure that there is glue, so sticky part right at the very front. Okay, and then with my cardstock here, you just attach the glue, run it along and break. Run it along and break. I'll put an extra bit up here because it didn't quite work. There we go. And then just layer that up. It does glue fairly quickly, so you do have to be careful. If you put it down crooked, it will be stuck. Now with the liquid glue, which is not my favorite because it's sticky, but it's great. You have a screw top lid and you actually don't need too much glue because if you put too much on, it squishes out the sides, and that's where I have the drama with sticky fingers. But it does give you a bit more time if you want to make things straighter. You can move it around a little bit once you're on your cardstock. Okay, so there you go. There's the liquid glue and the seal comparison. As I said, the seal is my favorite because it's the quickest. So I'm going to use that again to put this one inside my card. There we are. And there's the inside of my card done. Now I'm going to show you the magical, wonderful, marvelous foam dimensionals, double-sided foam. Absolutely love these things. They do make sticking things really easily. You just peel them off the waxed paper and they just stick straight on like stickers, and then pull the backing off them. You do have to make sure you pull the backing off. They don't stick too well with the backing still on them. And then pop that onto your card, front of the card. Okay, so the last thing I need to put on is my Happy Christmas. And look at the difference it makes just between the plain white and then just having that little outline of black. Really makes it pop, doesn't it? Okay, so pop that one on there. And then I'm going to put some seal on the back of that, but I'm going to add a little bit of fun ribbon detail. So I'm going to fold my ribbon in thirds. 1, 2, 3. Cut that off. And when you fold ribbon in thirds, I'll just move this out of the way, and you cross it over like this, you can make a flat bow. Okay, there's no knots or anything, but it looks like a bow. So I can pop that on the back of my greeting there. All that ribbon's nice and flat, and then I've got my glue on it to hold it in place. I'm going to add some dimensionals over the top to anchor that in between the sticky surface. There we go. Be generous, Julia. Peel the back off them. Peel, 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 and then pop my Happy Christmas straight over the top in the middle, and then my card is complete. Okay, with just some simple stamping, adding a little bit of extra sponging for colour, and then the triple folding your ribbon in thirds bow. I hope you enjoyed that, and I should show you some other cards that have also used this stamp set maybe, but I haven't got them ready, so if you're happy to wait, I'll go and dig them out. Hang on. So here's my box of cards that I've been making. This afternoon's job is to go through and address them all. Okay, so here's another card. It's been a bit beat up and bashed up from going around everywhere, but this is my original card that I created and then used that design to create this one. And I think it does look pretty amazing when it's got the extra layer of black behind it. Okay, so there's that one. And then ooh, here's another card using the same stamp set and the blending technique, and I've also just used a circle punch to create baubles to give some, so it looks like baubles in a tree, but the lovely leaf stamp set just made that card pretty easily. So these the colours in this one are Lost Lagoon and Azure Afternoon. So that's another card using that stamp set. I've got a lot of cards using the stars actually, which I do like. Okay, so I hope that's some inspiration for you. I can't find any more. I must have sent them already, the ones that I've already done using that stamp set. Oh, here's one more. This one using again the Lost Lagoon and the Azure Afternoon with the lovely bit of sponging as well, and also the beautiful Winter Meadow paper. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. But, oh, actually, if you're a regular, I won't be here next Thursday because I'll be camping up in the mountains, but hopefully I'll be able to make another video perhaps tomorrow before I go away. Bye bye now.